senpai? Yes.
So get used to this. From now on, social link ranks will comment on the fog. Also, it goes without saying, but every social link rank up with the party where Nanako would have appeared is rewritten if you do it at this point in the story. I really like that detail. Yeah, we may have had a run-in with that guy ourselves. Seems like we may have found our culprits. Maybe we can catch him in the act. Naoto says exactly what I'm saying. This is interestingly the best choice to say here.
Huh?
Yeah, it is sad that this case we've been pursuing is coming to a close, but that doesn't mean that we, yet another wry smile. That doesn't mean that we have to give up on seeing each other. There'll be more cases in the future.
He's the culprit! Grab him!
Or, let's be very careful. This choice is important. You have to say A in order to trigger the next major decision point of this social link.
Senpai!
Oh, okay then. Well, that dramatic music was pointless. Dramatic music, you can stop now. I still find this kind of weird. Like, why? What is the practical purpose of a radio that's shaped like a knife? So, this is another one of the route splits that's very obvious what each option does, but you will only get this option if you said, "I'm glad you're a girl" during rank 6. So that's why I made sure to choose that, so that I could show the split here, but I personally am going to go with this route. I mean, I'm pretty sure Yu Narukami would risk his life for any of his friends like that. But, you know, they wouldn't want him to get himself killed. It's always a two-way relationship.
I apologize.
Choosing the top option, though, is actually really interesting. I will be showing that as a separate video, but I'll just say right now, without fully spoiling it, it's a bit different to a lot of the other romance routes. The link doesn't officially turn romantic during rank 8. And it actually does lead to a really interesting, thought I've had, but I don't know if I can really talk too much about it without really spoiling how the next parts of her social link work. Anyway, Naoto now learns Heat Riser, a full buff on one character. Now, in Persona 5, I would say this skill would be pretty bad, because you have things like Thermopylae and a lot of other ways to raise all of your stats, and also your Navigator can do that. Risei cannot do this to the whole party like Futaba can. So it's actually a little more useful. Like, by the time you buff the whole party with this, the first one will have worn off, but it can be useful if you got one attacker that you really, really want to stack up buffs on. Now, is there anything I can afford to get rid of is the thing. I still like having Makara-kan for certain situations. And I kind of like having both of these, and I like keeping at least that. Oh, there's so many skills that I don't really want to get rid of here. Off the top of my head, I do not know whether there are more enemies weak to light or dark, but I kind of want to get rid of one of these, and my gut is telling me I've seen more enemies weak to light at this point, so I'll get rid of this one. But this means I'll probably end up getting rid of the other boost skill later. Yeah, I get the feeling we might know who that Phantom Thief is. This case might not be what we think it is. And here we are, back home during the Fogpocalypse. Okay, Yosuke wants to hang out, but I don't think we'll see him tomorrow. One of these nights I'll probably replace reading with fishing, because I just realized I actually didn't get one of the fish that I need. I guess we can finish off the Bullied Teacher series. It is always a funny feeling getting to the very end of a series that, well, has a definitive endpoint. But we do have the day off today. And final start on the 28th, gotta remember that. Oh, I forgot to harvest my vegetables. Everyone in town is just giving up on everything right now. Now, do I have the right thing that I need to continue this? Yes, I think we got those letters.
Yes. My. Is that so?
Two of them both seem very poetic.
I loved him this much. And because I loved him, it saddened me that he forgot my love. I was a fool. Thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Another thing that makes this social link great is it has a lot of unique voice clips. For someone outside of the party, it's just... They definitely put a lot of effort into this one. And it is one of the more well-hidden ones, since you need a social stat at a high rank in order to accept the hospital janitor job, which you need in order to unlock the death social link. Like, in a New Game Plus that I did, I never even got this social link at all, because I forgot that you needed to do, like, rank 4 of the hospital in order to unlock this. There really isn't much to do at night times at this point other than read and fish, so I'm gonna go ahead and get some Genji Ayu. Oh, finally. That took surprisingly a long time to show up. Okay, you're saying close your eyes and live in blissful ignorance. Everyone is just either completely apathetic towards everything, or freaking the hell out. There's no in-between here. Today we're gonna actually spend time with Naoto at lunch.
Thank you.
Rank 9 of Naoto's social link is... I know I describe a lot of social link ranks as interesting in this playthrough, but I do think this one is quite interesting, although first we have a classroom session. This one I actually know thanks to reading Murderous Maths as a kid, as I mentioned earlier in this series. This is the Fibonacci sequence. Basically, the next number is the sum of the previous two numbers. So 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, and so on. I find the Fibonacci sequence really, really interesting because it actually is seen in nature a lot. It's kind of amazing. And it's also relevant to a few other things, like I think the golden ratio and getting the perfect rectangle. Also a certain puzzle involving rabbit breeding, but it assumes that every pair of rabbits will always give birth to exactly one other pair of rabbits, and there'll always be one boy and one girl. But I still like one of the comments in Murderous Maths on that puzzle when the guy that the person is talking to is saying, like, are you saying that after, like, 1 year I'll have this many, I think it's, like, in the millions or billions rabbits? And then it's like, no! Pairs of rabbits! Yep, the man in black was the Phantom Thief all along. Oh yeah, and get used to fog has enveloped the area, by the way.
I am Yakushiji, secretary of the Shirogane estate,
I humbly apologize for the other day.
I must also apologize. Though I may not have known, I involved you in this.
No, we're the ones who agreed to help.
It was an act put on by my grandpa.
My master has been terribly saddened by Naoto-sama's state of affairs lately. Lacking acquaintances to confide in, she devotes every fiber of her being to work. My master wanted Naoto-sama to regain the joy she felt in days past. To regain the feelings when all that she wanted was to be a detective, regardless of her heritage or gender. I involved you at my own discretion, believing you to be trustworthy. Please forgive me.
Well, that is a low bow.
I received this from Yakushiji-san. It's the final challenge.
That's weird.
A place I'd be fond of. You remembered.
She did like climbing trees when she was young.
The highest place around here is the hill. Next, what I can't stand to do. There are several possibilities, but that's right. Did I mention that before? Considering what's at the hill, the most likely answer is the trash can. I have an inkling of what might be there. Let's go, Senpai.
And it said underneath, not inside.
I forgot this thing even existed. It's the last of the 7 tools. The detective's pocketbook. All the things I had forgotten about are packed in here. I think Grandpa wanted to remind me of them. This childish game. He's selfish indeed. Forcing me to recall all this now. I was trying so hard. Not to be underestimated, not to be condescended to. If I solved this town's murder case, then everyone would accept me. They would acknowledge me as the 5th in the Shirogane lineage of detectives. That's what I told myself. I just wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be needed. That's why I fretted and stood on my tiptoes and focused only on solving the case. But the original reason I wanted to become a detective, it was because mysteries intrigued me and I could help people by solving them. That's all. I remember now. Do you recall the time I faced myself in the TV world? It was my task to accept the self who yelled, "I want a reason for me to stay." But my reason to stay was not solely to solve the crime. You, everyone, gave me a reason. You gave me a place to stay. I have to be an adult. I have to be a man. With that way of thinking, I was running for myself. I don't need to look for something to change or something to accomplish. I only need to have faith in myself. I finally think I can accept myself. That I'm a woman. That I haven't yet become the detective I wanted to be. I am a woman. And a detective. One who is seeking the truth with you and the others.
Actually a very profound statement for Japanese audiences. Definitely loses a bit of that cultural context outside of Japan, though. And with that, I think everyone in the party can do this now.
I'm really glad I came to this town. It's where you and I live, and all the others too.
So this rank up is actually entirely the same on the romance route, except there's an extra part at the end, where she goes over your previous love confession and realizes that she does in fact love you even though she didn't say it back then, and that's the point where the link officially turns romantic. So, like most, it doesn't turn romantic until rank 9, it's just that you prompt it in rank 8. I guess we can start on Office Work Manual, since it gives us some kind of bonus that isn't stats. I think everything we have left is going to take 2 nights to read. This makes the letter opening job, better, basically. Okay, that's interesting. The Tsuki means moon. I think it's normally pronounced Getsu now, when it's used to refer to months. Because now the months in Japanese are just like first month, second month, third month, etc. I used to be obsessed with Egyptian mummies when I was a kid. I think a lot of kids were. I once did went to like a history class where we mummified Barbies. But anyway, classroom question time. Well, that's the name of a city. She was actually Greek, not Egyptian. And this is the pharaoh that most people think about, but it's actually, Khufu, I think. Yeah, that's what the Greeks called him. Over 20 years, wow. Well, good to have an admission of that. Wow, the year is almost over. It feels kind of surreal. Though, a lot of things feel surreal right now, thanks to the fog. I thought it would be Naoto.
Senpai.
So, thing is, we're actually not going to be spending time with Naoto today, but we will be tomorrow. At least we know she's ready to go up to rank 10. And with that, I think it would leave only Yosuke, who is maxed a lot earlier in the other popular guide for Persona 4, but I like this one for actually maxing kanji. Like at this point, I think in the other guide, like the other main one, I think you're only just barely starting kanjis, which I just find, like, why? Anyway, we're going to go and see Eri. And if I remember right, this rank up is actually quite memorable. The kids are still playing, even though there's the fog. You know, when you're playing games like this with other kids, make sure that they're all aware that it's a game, and, yeah. It's very bad when kids try and drag people who aren't part of the game into other things. I remember when I was a kid on the playground, the phrase, "I'm not playing," was just so common. Just the catch-all excuse to, get out of, other kids trying to force you into things. Okay, who is this person?
Oh, hello.
Oh, a teacher. Okay, then. You can apparently choose any of these, but let's just be honest. That sounds very passive-aggressive. That too. What is wrong with the teachers in Inaba? Seriously. Somebody, why is it that all the teachers here suck?
I'm sorry.
I mean, I do see your point about the violence streak, but the whole, oh yeah, it's obvious that he's gonna end up like that because he's not from around here. Although this speech is now giving me vibes of a Goofy movie. There's something I can say about that, because when the principal says that, you know, that if your son keeps going on this way, he'll eventually end up in the electric chair. I didn't understand that when I was a kid. I thought that, like, there was some seats outside the principal's office, and every time the students did something bad, they'd move up one seat, and eventually the last seat is the electric chair, and if they end up in that seat, then they get expelled or something? Like, that's actually what I thought that the principal meant in that movie. Also, you know, since it was a cartoon, I also vaguely thought that maybe the chair actually is electric and would shock them, but in a cartoony way. So, any of these actually work. Because I think she takes it the same way regardless. And yes, this is the rank I was thinking about. When I was playing through this again, I'd forgotten about that, and that caught me off guard. Yuta just totally owned us. But I mean, it does show how much he cares for her.
Thank you. Then I'll see you again.
And tonight, because that whole rank up didn't give any points at all, we have to reset abuse for a great blessing from Eri. Yeah, Temperance is a really tough one to rank up. Especially since the only way to get extra points outside of doing the rank ups, which, again, usually don't give points, is to draw blessings at the shrine. Oh hey, the boss is back. That only took 3 tries, but we do need more great blessings in order to become closer soon. But at least we're doing something pretty major today at school. Well, not at school, technically after school. These moments in Persona 4 are definitely very different to the points where the music around town changes in Persona 3. I mean, their things are also quite bleak, but it sort of feels a bit more mournful and just kind of bittersweet in a way. That's not the word, but if you play Persona 3, you'll get the idea. The music change in P4 just feels really, really creepy, foreboding, on edge. Like everything is coming to an end, as this girl is saying. It's a very, very, very different kind of atmosphere. Yes, nobody's looking well these days. Yeah, so for those who don't know, Christmas in Japan is considered a romantic holiday. It's kind of their equivalent of Valentine's Day, as much as anime likes doing Valentine's episodes. Valentine's Day is more of like a social obligation with friends than it is an actual romantic thing. The real romantic date night is usually Christmas Eve. But we're being asked about rice cakes here, which I feel is more of a New Year's thing in Japan than a Christmas thing. And in this case, it's a mochi. Yeah, mochi are made like it's fun to watch those getting made. They're basically whacked with a hammer. That's not even an exaggeration. Didn't actually know that was how fish cakes were made. I hope the hammers used to make the fish cakes are clean. This does kind of remind me, back in, like, I don't know, in my high school days, I'd often find myself having Asian food for Christmas because those were some of the few restaurants that were open on Christmas Day.
Senpai?
It feels a bit weird in this bleak, foggy atmosphere, but we are going to be finally completing Naoto's social link today.
Yes.
It is a happy occasion. Stupid fog ruining everything.
It feels like such a long time ago that we were here chasing after the Phantom Thief. It was an unforgettable case, full of rewards.
Such as you learning Heat Riser, and, well, especially Mind Charge.
I enjoyed it. What about you? Yes, I thought so too. It was even more invigorating to solve it with you. So, I wanted to give you something today. I made this. Please accept it. I haven't crafted anything like this in some time. If I went back to the estate, I could have added a camera and transceiver. Oh, but it flashes! I made myself one to match. Now you're my assistant, Senpai. All right. You realize I'm quite serious about this, yes? The title of detective became a burden to me. I thought I had no other aspects apart from detective self. But you and the others gave me a reason to be as neither adult nor man. So, I was able to face myself as myself. Before the detective, before the child, before the woman. By spending time with you all, I changed day by day. It frightened me before, but now, with everyone, with you, I can proudly proclaim that I am myself. Nothing more, but nothing less.
Yamato Takeru is a person who may have really existed, but is mostly the source of legends. Chronicled in Japan's two most famous mythological texts, the Kojiki and Nihon Shoki, he was originally Prince Orsu, the son of the supposed 12th Emperor of Japan. He slew his brother, which caused his father to send him away to the Izumo region out of fear, but there the prince still defeated whatever enemies came across him. One of them he defeated via disguising himself by cross-dressing as a maid. This must be why he's Naoto's ultimate persona. It was from one of these enemies that he received his title, Yamato Takeru, or the Brave of Yamato. His aunt later lent him the sword Kusanagi, a name that anyone familiar with Japanese mythology will know. It's the same sword Susanoo used to slay Orochi. And a really cool detail in the persona designs is that sword Yamato Takeru is holding is the same sword held by Yukiko's Amaterasu, confirming that this is supposed to be Kusanagi. Accounts of exactly how he died vary, but a statue of him now stands in Kanazawa. As a legendary hero who may or may not have been based on a real person who receives a magic sword, some historians have felt there might be a common link between his legend and that of King Arthur. In gameplay terms, upon awakening to Yamato Takeru, Naoto loses 1 point of magic and luck, but gains 1 endurance. Why, exactly? Well, it's probably worth gaining an immunity to light and dark, along with a resistance to fire. Not needing to worry about your Mind Charge Megadolon user getting whacked by an unlucky Hammer or Muro is definitely appreciated.
This potential was still dormant within me. I wasn't considering the things that I should have. The people who care about me, as well as my own self. When I'm with you, I feel fearless.
Norns are a class of being that presides over fate in Norse mythology. There are many Norns of a variety of races such as elves and dwarves, but the 3 Norns that this persona represents are the 3 primary ones, a group of Jotuns or giantesses, Urthr, Verdandi, and Skuld, in my best attempt at Old Norse, which is not good. Presiding loosely over past, present, and future, though their names more literally mean what has happened, what is currently happening, and Skuld is the most interesting because it translates to debts. But what it actually means is what ought to happen, or what should happen. I personally find the idea of the future as a debt really fascinating, and from what I can gather of their legends, and there isn't that much info on them overall, the Norns appear to be depicted as something akin to cosmic lawyers. It's also their job to maintain the roots of the world tree Yggdrasil, using the water from their Well of Fate. Many European cultures had myths about 3 sisters presiding over fate. The Greeks had Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos, and those are the 3 personas that need to be fused together to make Norn. It is considered a secret fusion. From their components, Norn has guaranteed access to Wind Boost to stack with Wind Amp, along with Makarakan, Mind Charge, and Evade Fire. Norn itself has low endurance but decent stats elsewhere, learns some decent skills in Dia Rahan and Oro Masuku, Its skill card ability of insta-heal is not really that great, especially since there's another skill card that can make you outright immune to most ailments. But the real prize here is Debilitate. This skill is not only a fantastic boss killer, it's also very unique for fusion purposes. It's not a signature move. There is one other persona that learns it by level up, and another one that gets it via a special fusion forecast. But it is treated as a signature move for the purposes of inheritance, meaning it cannot be passed down through fusion. It is, however, possible to get it via skill card. But until you have access to that, personas that learn Debilitate are very, very valuable. Though most players prefer the other source of Debilitate, who I'll get to later, Norn learning it at all is still an amazing asset that makes it definitely worth fusing. So as Naoto doesn't have any weaknesses, she can't, I forget how many social links that's for maxing, I think that's 10? But yeah, she doesn't learn an evade skill. Instead, for upgrading her persona, she gets Invigorate 3, which is kind of a lame skill for an ultimate persona, all things considered. At least she now nulls both light and dark, and has a resistance to fire. I'd probably rather have Harm Booster against regular enemies. It's weird, I'm gonna say no to her final social link skill.
Well then, let us begin. There's a lot you must learn before becoming a detective. I myself can't relent in my training. To become a formidable woman detective. We'll start off with something that may come in handy before too long. Shadowing a suspect.
After all this time investigating the case, we finally know the basics of detective work. But overall, I think that's a pretty nice Platonic rank 10. It's probably another one of my favourite Platonic rank 10s, up there with Yukiko's. Yukiko's is still my favourite Platonic one though. Okay, there we go. That only took about 8 minutes. And still, not enough for a relationship becoming closer soon.